guys. Yeah, it's me. I'm still here. I told you I wasn't going too far. This is episode 127. And today you get to meet our new host. That's right. If you missed the last episode, you might want to go back and figure out what the hell I'm talking about. But yeah, you get to finally find out who's going to be driving this ship alongside Kelly. I'm very excited about this. I can talk more about it at the end of the episode. But yeah, I'm just going to shut my mouth and let these two take it from here. So go ahead, sit back, relax, crack a nice cold beer, and enjoy episode 127 with Kelly and our new host.
Garrett, Mark on.
Kelly.
What's going on?
Oh, lots. How about you?
Things are busy. I want to welcome you to the show, bud, because, Mike and I chatted a little bit last episode about, some proposed changes to the show. Mike talked about how he was going to, basically leave the show from a hosting capacity. He is going to be involved from a production capacity as well as doing the intros and the outros for the show. So we're super happy to obviously, keep him on the Rookie Hunter team. But even more exciting is the fact that we have yourself who is going to join as a co-host moving forward on the Rookie Hunter. So happy to have you.
That's great.
And thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me on here. Yeah, when you guys asked me, I love what you guys are doing with it, and I'd hate to see it go away. And it's good to see that Mike still wants to be a part of it. And Kelly, you guys reaching out and asking me to do this. It's great.
Yeah, Mike and I, we started chatting a little bit. He kind of said, I think you should take over the show, which, to be honest, was a little shocking to me. And I was like, man, I didn't want really, when I heard that, I was like, I think we have a good thing going here. So I didn't want to see it leave either. And, like Mike said, he wasn't going to take no for an answer. So kind of got to thinking, and then right away, your name popped into my head. One, because you're already, super engaged with the show. You've been on, you're Mike's cousin for one. So, we've all known each other for a long time. But you've already been on the show in a number of episodes, and usually they're the best hunts that we've recorded thus far. So the elk hunt where you got a 8x7 elk. None of us knew what we were doing, but somehow you made that happen. The sheep hunt, both sheep hunts actually. And then you and I actually went for a moose hunt last year, which we weren't successful on, but you've already been in the storyline. I think people know who you are, but we'll get a little more into that and your background. But yeah, man, for me, it just made sense. And I sent you a long-winded text message that I actually typed up on my computer.
Yeah, I thought you actually thumbed that out on your phone. It's impressive. Holy.
Yeah. And then you said, I'll give you a call. And I was like, oh, man, I figured, if you wanted to do it, you'd just say yes. And then I called you, and then you're super excited. So I was like, yeah, this is awesome. This is going to work out. So super pumped on my end, man.
Same here, man. This is great. I'm glad you guys asked me.
Definitely. Yeah. And we're kind of all, we're very similar. Mike, myself, and you, even right down to the music side of things, but we'll get into that. So, I guess I'm going to pass the mic over to you and tell us who you are for those that may not have listened to some previous episodes.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I grew up in the same town as Mike and Kelly. We all went to the same high school together. Mike's my cousin. We've all loved music, played music. At one point or another, we all jammed together. And then we all later in life got into hunting. I got out of high school and then, of course, looking for a job and went to school, and hunting kind of took a back burner there. And I always loved doing it. And I did it. I was fortunate enough to do it with my dad growing up. And these are things that I wanted to return back to and do. So me and my wife were always looking for a way to come back home and have a part of that, be in the outdoors. And then when Mike and Kelly got going with the Rookie Hunter, it was just like it just added more fuel to the fire. And it was, it just made it even that much more exciting to get out and record our hunts and just have a good time and get outside and something we can play back and listen to. And so, I mean, I started out hunting kind of underneath my dad's wing there, and he kind of took me out and about, but I never really was doing it by myself. I actually didn't really actually start going out and doing it until, I was with you guys. So, I'm still really a rookie getting out there and doing these things. And like you mentioned there, like when we were on the elk hunt, like that was all a first time experience for me, like the whole the whole thing. So I'm always learning, and that's the best part about this podcast is it's just a wealth of knowledge. So like from a hunting perspective, I love hunting. It's a big part of my life, and I want it to be a part of my kids' lives. So, I love doing it, and I'm going to keep on doing it.
Yeah, that's awesome. So when we go back to that elk hunt, like even though you'd hunted under your dad's wing there, were you involved with any successful elk hunts in the past?
Like when I started hunting, my dad took me out when I was pretty young. Like I remember my first hunt I went on, I was probably about 12 years old. That's when he brought me out. And it was like your wall tents, 2 wall tents. One was for sleeping, the other one was for cooking. And I came out and we were hunting deer, and it was cold. I had crap equipment. I just remember freezing cold the whole time. But I loved it. Like we went out, lots of animals, seen lots. And then the next hunt we did after that, I think it was the next year, they took me up to the East Kootenays in the Elk Valley. And that's what really that was the icing on the cake. That was a big one. They took me out there, and I was in the Rockies, and same sort of setting, the wall tents. And this time they had horses. So it was, I mean, we went in there, and at that time it was 3-point or better in the Elk Valley, and they shot 2 elk, and I got to be there for it. So after that, I was hooked. Like I thought this was the best thing going. So every chance I could get, I would try to tag along with them and go. But like I said, like I never was really doing it by myself. So, like I always followed their lead, and they had everything set. Like they had an amazing camp, and they had everything dialed. So I just kind of just showed up, which is great. I love that part of it because I love doing it. And then, when I took off, and then I met you guys, and you guys were all gung ho to get into it and do it. So it was the perfect match to get back out there and have like the same input from you guys wanting to help and contribute and put together a successful hunt, whether or not you're shooting something or not. It's still going out and having a fun time.
Yep. I get the sense that, well, of all the hunts we've done so far, like, Mike had some experience with his dad as well. And you could tell that you had some experience, with your dad too. And it's kind of ongoing, but like when we're all out there in the bush, it really feels like we're all starting from the same spot. You know what I mean? Like, which is kind of, it's good. It's kind of like comforting to know we're kind of, all figuring out, like it kind of takes the pressure off a little bit for everybody. I noticed that, you have some equipment too, like wall tents and stuff like that. So it's good you have a lot of knowledge on kind of how to set up the camp and do that kind of thing if we're going on that kind of a hunt. But even then, man, like even that's kind of rookie-ish too, right? Like it's still kind of very much in the beginning stages. Like we don't seem to, I wouldn't say any of us are kind of where your dad is or where his hunting buddies are that have been doing it for, 40, 50 years. So it's really fun to kind of, do it our way and try to figure out what works for us. And, there's so much learning. That's one of the reasons I got into hunting, man, was not even, there's the adventure and the story and the meat and the cooking and all that kind of stuff. But I also just wanted to get better at like, outdoor skills and like life skills. Like I've said like how to tie a knot, but that sounds like a super simple example, but like there's so many knots and stuff. And like you learn all these things that just help you. And, when you take your kids out camping and stuff and you got to whip a tarp up, it's like, well, boom, I know how to do that in, a minute. but like you got to learn those skills.
Oh,
And
definitely.
hunting gives you so many of them. So I like it for that.
Absolutely. And that's kind of my thing when it was like breaking off from them and then going with you guys. It's like, oh, all right, now we have to do this on our own. We have to figure this out.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I mean, when I went with those guys, I, of course, taking in everything they had, like it's how they set their camp up and all that. And I mean, in terms of gear, I just like what gear was back then it was crap. It was horrible. But the one thing that did stand out the most was their optics. Like they had crap everything. Everybody was wearing those woolly pants. I don't know if you ever remember those. Like snow would stick to them. They'd weigh like a ton.
Yeah,
They kept
you warm though.
Yeah, they kept you warm, but like the guys had like Swarovski binos, and I was like, "Whoa, what are those?" And they would tell me. So I got to know what was good. You know what I mean? And it's like looking at their guns, the scopes on their guns, and that, and
Yeah.
different, all that different stuff. But they're all like working tradesmen and that. So they all built something for this camp, like whether it be the frame or the stove or like the camp was phenomenal.
Yeah, man. We've had some good times up to date. So I'm pumped about what's coming. You got a good background on the hunting front, and even on the music front. You mentioned that we all jam together. Just for everybody's knowledge, Garrett's a unreal guitar player. So, we might be able to, if we ever have to update the theme music, maybe you and I can do a little, duet or something.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, that'd be great. I'd love that. That's good.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's intimidating. We haven't played in a long time, Kelly. Yeah, I'm sure we'd figure it out. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And you got a couple kids too?
Yeah, I got 2 boys, 2 young boys. So I'm in the same boat you are with the time I have to get out and go hunting. But, it's the one thing that I still, if I'm going to make time for anything, it'll be hunting the time I do get to get out and go and do stuff. Yeah. And I'm not sure, is that where you guys are at too, you and Bree?
Oh yeah, for sure. We're kind of thinking about next year in terms of, I think the goal is always to make memories, whether it's a hunting trip or just life in general, like with your kids. So we're just kind of talking about what that looks like, assuming that this pandemic keeps dragging on. So, camping is definitely going to be a major, he'll be 2 years old by the time summer rolls around. So, we really want to get into camping, and we're kind of looking at like, what that looks like and what kind of equipment we're going to get into, like, maybe not tents, but we'll try to find something else just to keep it comfortable for him and for the family. But, we were talking to Mike, it's like the more this drags out, the more I appreciate the outdoors and like bringing the boat up, going fly fishing, going, to the lakes, going hunting. It's going to be, like you said, all the free time we do have, I think is going to be poured even more into the outdoors because you can't really do anything else nowadays.
Oh, I hear you. Yeah. And I'm fortunate enough living where I do. Like I still live in the Kootenays. There's not really much. There's not a lot around. So we spend majority of our time in the outdoors. So like, I'm pretty thankful that's not being taken away from us.
Yeah, man. And I guess that is kind of a side note is we're probably going to be carrying this podcast along, through conference call or through, we're doing Zoom here, but with the pandemic, it's kind of how we'd have to do it anyways. And then of course, when we can hunt together, we're going to make some plans to kind of get into, probably some Okanagan hunts and some Kootenay hunts, like more Kootenay stuff than Mike and I had done in the past, just because you're there and I'm here. And then of course we got the rest of BC. So, we got a lot of time to think about what the future looks like, but it's good to have kind of an overview of your background there.
You know what? And that's unreal because there's so much to do right here. And I feel like I haven't even scratched the surface. And see, that's the other thing too, going out back then with my dad, and all those stories those guys used to share about other people around their age and what they hunt, what they did. So you have kind of like this backlog of all these places within just the Kootenays itself, of all these different animals that you can pursue. And it's like, there's so much to do. You just have to pick one and places to
Yeah.
go. So I can't wait. There's a lot of adventures to have, and we're just starting out.
Yeah.
Even with the Okanagan,
There's a ton of opportunity, and as we kind of progressed down this hunting journey, like the three of us, Mike, yourself, and I, we started getting a lot more interested in, what horse hunting kind of looks like, and there's a lot of guys that have dogs, and there's so many different avenues, and I can definitely see us get more into those things moving forward, and the horses especially. So I guess that leads me into my next question of what does your 2020 look like so far?
2020 has been it's been crazy. The 2020, like, I've kind of actually ramped back the hunting and preparing myself for this new adventure to have. And now that we're doing this rookie hunter together, like, we have a lot to go forward and learn, especially with not so much started the year out. Me and my wife, we purchased 2 hounds. So I've been doing the hound thing. So the ungulate hunting has taken kind of a back seat, but I mean, everything is kind of putting everything on hunting cats this winter. So that's something, Kelly, me and you can venture into. I mean, with the work we've been doing with the dogs and just taking on that whole new experience and learning as a rookie.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's a huge rookie hunter theme right there, given that it's totally new to me, and it sounds like it's really new to you, other than the fact that you jumped in and got some dogs. But the one thing I will say is I went to the Jurassic Classic a few years ago with Mike, and one of the nights they had a big barbecue, and they had cougar tenderloin and a bunch of cougar meat at that barbecue. It tasted unreal. It tasted just like pork. So from the food perspective, there's definitely value there. And the other thing that I know a little bit on the hounds front is just how much work it is, from training to the actual hunt, and it seems like a ton of work. So I can appreciate that's taking up a lot of your time.
It's taken up a lot of time, but it's rewarding. Like, I mean, you've had dogs growing up too. I've had different dogs. Hounds are these dogs we have there. It's always something different with them. So I'm always learning something new. And I've had, like, before we just jump right into it, I've had people here in town that have kind of helped me out and given me information and what to look for and what to do. And, with reading books and stuff like that too. So you're always learning. And there's going to be struggles along the way, because those dogs can be pretty stubborn, man. There's times where it's pretty frustrating, but it's fun. It's another new adventure, and I can't wait to take them out and chase cats. It's going to be good.
That's awesome. And the other cool thing, Mike and I, this episode would already be released. Not this episode, but the last one, 126. And on that one, Mike and I were discussing kind of the transition of him kind of leaving as a host and you coming in. And it just so happens that same night that we were recording that podcast was the same night that you were picking up, 2 more editions that the three of us are very excited about moving forward with.
2020 for our family has been the year of the pets. So we started off in the January with the hounds, and we've been going full swing with those. And then, like you said there, with that, me and my wife, we purchased 2 horses. So now we got 2 horses on the property too. So that's going to be a whole nother bag of adventure for us, for all of us, yourself, Kelly, and Mike, and my wife, my kids, everyone. Like, horses are a huge commitment. It's a life changer, man. Not just for hunting, but just, you know what I mean? Owning them. It's a way of life.
Yeah.
But I
exactly.
love it. I'm fully invested, and so much has gone into purchasing those horses before they even showed up at our house. So I can't wait. I'm super excited, and I can't wait for that first day that me and you can ride up in the mountains and
awesome.
hunt.
Yeah, I can't wait either,
deer,
man.
yeah.
I I was actually, I can't remember where it was. It was some social media where we had posted a photo, and my cousin responded like, wow, like I don't think she knew how serious I was getting into hunting like over these last 5-6 years. She lives in Texas now. She moved down there, and she's been
Oh,
down there a
wow.
long time, probably, 10, 20 years at this point. But so we don't see him that often, but she kind of just said, Grandpa and Uncle Rich would be proud. And, both of them have passed away. Those are my relatives. So like on the one hand, it's, I wish I would have been able to hunt with them, or, it was just, it wasn't part of my hobby structure back then. But, the one thing I did do with my Uncle Rich a couple times was he had a horse, a huge horse, actually. Pretty intimidating, but I imagine they're all pretty big. But
Well, I hear you, man. They're intimidating animals. They're huge. And surprisingly, you think like for the size they are, like when they want to turn it on, they can move pretty quick. So
yeah,
I hear you. Yeah. You definitely have to go into it with your guns loaded and know what you're doing. Otherwise you can turn into a wreck pretty quick. Yeah. It's all a new learning curve for us, and me and you have a lot to learn to embark on that adventure. But hey, man, I can't wait. It's gonna be unreal, and the pictures we'll get with our camp, the horses in the background, it's gonna be phenomenal.
Yeah, man. I'm gonna have to buy some chaps.
I don't know if I'm quite there yet. I don't think I can. I don't know if I can do the cowboy boots and chaps. I know I get a lot of digs from my buddies.
Yeah.
But even cowboy, I don't have a cowboy hat either. I don't think I can pull that off.
Yeah, I don't think it's mandatory anymore. But like, how old are these horses? I mean, we can get into horses. Like this will be a storyline that kind of continues, through next year and beyond. But I'm just curious on a couple of things. Like, how old are these horses, and what kind did you buy, and why?
Okay, yeah, definitely, yeah, I agree. There's a lot of info there. These horses they're young. They're only 6 months old, and I got 2 of them. And wow. Just like what I said about the hounds, like a lot went into this. A lot went, you know what I mean? Are we going to do this? Is it, can we do this? Are we just jumping into something that's going to be a wreck? It started back when actually you guys had, I believe it was Jesse Zeman on the podcast. And he was talking about him, and I reached out to him. And this is something me and my wife had discussed like years ago, even before we got good jobs and our careers going and all that. And we always discussed like, hey, maybe one day we can own some horses and do this as a couple, as like kind of our hobby. You know what I mean? It was, and then life goes on, and we finally got it together, and it actually we made it happen. So yeah, going back, talked to Jesse Zeman, said, hey, I'm looking into buying horses because you guys had him on the podcast, and he was talking about he had a few. So he laid down like, okay, you're going to, take a look at these breeds of horses and then reach out to this fella up in McBride who runs, I think it's Blue Creek Outfitting. I think that's what it's called. So my wife bought me the book there, and I read it a few times, and I think his name is Stan Walchuk. And then just with the horse community in town, there's a lot of people here who are phenomenal at giving you information and all that. So we discussed what I wanted to do with them, and like what, where we'd be riding and all like everything, like how to take care of them, all that stuff. And they steered me down that path. And then me and my wife went out, we started looking for them, and then we just nailed down the ones we wanted. And I mean, everyone's like, well, you get an older horse, get one that's broke and all that. But we wanted to have the full experience and start fresh and enjoy the adventure all the way through.
How long does it take to break them, or like not really break them, but, get them mature enough and, huntable? And also, when should I introduce myself to them?
You should you should come down as soon as you can and bring James and Bree. Yeah, definitely.
Nice.
They're that's the one hound there in the background.
Nice.
You can't actually start riding them till they're about 5 or 6 because they have to let them all their joints and bones and all that fully mature. But during that time, there's a lot of work to be done for just ground handling and braking, getting used to different noises.
Yep.
Pretty much just getting them bomb proof so they're sound, and you're not gonna end up with any rodeos in the mountains or people getting hurt. Obviously, that's number one. We got nothing but time, so there'll be lots of time for us to. We're in no rush, so the timing is good. The kids are young. We teaching them safety around them and all that good stuff. So lots of fun stuff to learn, and a lot awaits us in the future, which makes it even more exciting, which I can't wait. It's kind of like 2020, like you're saying, what's your 2020 hold? It's like paying it forward to kind of, you know what I mean? Get something going and start something new and something we can all have fun with and learn. Yeah,
that's awesome. I mean, the one thing that I like about you and like hunting with you and like having you on this show is that, I kind of am self-aware of this, but I can be a little bit of a why not guy. Like, here's why not.
Yeah.
And not overboard. I mean, I'm like, I'm still going on the sheep hunts and doing these things, but I'm naturally just like cautious, but I feel like you're kind of a why the hell not kind of guy, a little more,
so definitely. Yeah. I've definitely got like a lot of people like, you guys did what? You bought 6?
Yeah.
Are you crazy? Like, what's the matter with you? Like, what's like, well, I didn't just dive right into it. And Matt, like, even with the hounds, I got like people, you bought 2 pups? Like, you must be nuts. Like, why would you do that?
Mm-hmm.
So but I love hunting, man. And I love being out there, and I want to do these kind of things. And then like when we're out there having these,
you figure it out.
Yeah, you figure it out, and hopefully you don't get hurt along the way. But you're always, like, we're always learning, right? There's always something to be learned. Yeah. And then as long as I feel like you take the right approach to it, and you're not an idiot, then just slow it down.
So you've had these horses for how many days now? 2, 3?
Yeah, 2-3 days. Yeah, and holy crap, every day is something different. Let me tell you.
And like, what have been the challenges in these first 72 hours?
Holy crap. Just even when they pulled up with that trailer, well, they had 5 horses. They were coming from Rocky Mountain House. So they dropped one off in Golden. And so it's November, it snowstorm. They had to come through the pass to get to Golden from Rocky Mountain House. Then they came down, they went through Revelstoke and came down through Galena. You know where that is, Kelly. They came down that super narrow, windy through Slocan, right, hit the junction, right? Wow. Come down, and they got 4. So they asked if they could put 2 up at our house to stay the night, because I guess 2 were going on to some people in Kelowna. So like he said, what are the challenges? Like once they rolled in with that trailer, it was like, holy crap, this is real. This is happening. Like even just getting them off the trailer and like holding on to them and bringing them into the pasture was like, holy shit. Like this is it. We're doing it, man. Like and then like feeding them and all that stuff. Like it's like you said, man, they're big animals, and you just got to build your confidence and start. And my next door neighbor, they got 13 horses. So she came over, and again, just a huge resource and help, and lots. I was going to
ask you if you had anybody to kind of help you get those things off the trailer and kind of like, I imagine you got to have the right demeanor with them and all that kind of stuff, right?
Oh, for sure, man. If you're scared, they pick up on that stuff. And like the other, like my dad had to help. He's never done that. Like when we both, and it's pitch black. So we let him out into the pasture, 4 horses. We had to show him where the water was, because they want him to have water after a long trip. And so we brought him out there, and we talking to the people, and super nice, great, excellent, the kind of people you want to do business with. And it was all good. And they're okay, we're going to go and stay the night in the hotel. And then me and my dad were walking by, and we both turned around, looked at each other. We're like, well, that's one of those staple points in your life that these things, like, you know what I mean? It was unreal. And we kind of high-fived there. It was like, wow, that was awesome. It's great to experience. Wow. And yeah, it was awesome.
Cool. Did you get any pictures of that day?
We tried. Yeah, we tried. I think we were just way too pumped up. So yeah. I think
you didn't have the tripod with like Garrett and both horses behind your shoulder. They weren't cooperating.
Yeah, I was way too like in the zone to make sure I wasn't going to get stomped or kicked. Yeah. What a rush, man. Nice. Awesome. Yeah, I can't wait for you guys to check them out. It'll be good. Definitely,
man. Looking forward to it. So just the last, like I said, we'll chat about horses a lot over the next while, but these horses don't have names, correct?
Yeah, that's right. We have no names for them yet. So I'm a strong believer that they should earn their names, but I'm also open to like,
Yeah.
I mean, what clearly whatever sounds the best is gonna be it's gonna be. You know what happens when you hear a good, especially for like dogs, right? When you hear a good, you'd be like, oh, that's a killer name for a dog, and then you just like, I got to use that name.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're open to ideas. So maybe what we'll do is throw out a suggestion box for all of our listeners, so they can write us with their best horse names, and then when we post this episode on Instagram with a little picture, we'll put something in there too, and we'll get maybe we'll get a bunch of suggestions on Garrett's horse names.
Yeah, that would be unreal. Yeah, I can't wait. I can already see some now. It'd be awesome. Yeah,
yeah.
We'll have to put some pictures of them too, so people can see them, what they look like. That might help out with.
Yeah, get some pictures of them. Hopefully, with you were just mentioning, like, apparently when their ears are pinned back, that's not a good thing. So maybe not when they're doing that, but like if you can get them in a good mood, then throw some pictures up there.
Most of the time they're in a pretty damn good mood. But the other night there, me and my buddy there, Tim, we tried to get out there and give them, like on another thing, this whole like their nutrition, and I have some stuff, but I won't get into that. But anyways, we're going out to give them their supplements. And then the one, he's not gelded yet. So I don't know if that plays a role in it, but he got dominant there and we brought the feed out and shit went sideways there pretty quick. And we kind of like, it scared the shit out of me, man. But on another learning curve, we were like, even like, we were kind of looking at each other like, holy crap, that was intense. And then kind of laughing a little later, and then instantly online figuring out, okay, how do I, you know what I mean? How do I prevent this? How do I deal with this? And then talking to people like, holy crap, like, how do I get around this? And that whole thing. But yeah, definitely always something. There's always something.
Yeah, man, that's an adventure and a half already.
But the name idea, I like that. That's great. We should definitely do that. Like the hounds, they're Waylon and Willie. And nice. Waylon he's a knucklehead, but he's good with, the different characters and that, but they're awesome dogs. Yeah. But yeah.
Two coolest names. Waylon and Willie.
Waylon, Willie. Oh, and they're blue tick coon hounds.
Nice.
Yeah.
I've had experience with blue tick coon hounds. My buddy had one. Corey, actually, if you go way back to like episode 7 or 8 or 10 or something like that, we had Corey Davies on. He, Mike and I, actually, he's Jesse's brother-in-law, Jesse Zeman.
Okay.
So Corey, Mike, and I actually did a hunting course together. This is when we first did our Coram Powell, and he had a blue tick coon hound or a red tick coon hound. I don't know if they're different or the same or what, but we went for a hike one day. And there was a few mule deer that popped up over the ridge. And this dog, like, we didn't have it on a leash at that point, and it just like took off. And you know the howl.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
And you could hear it. It's just kind of that yelping howl sound, and just kept going. It was over the ridge, and you could hear it. It wasn't stopping, but you could just faintly hear it, and then all of a sudden you just couldn't hear it anymore. Like that's how far he went. He was continually barking. He just kept going to the point where you couldn't even hear him anymore. I'm like, Corey, what do we do? And he just said, he'll come back.
Yeah.
It was like 2 hours. Yeah, it was a long time, man. And then he came back. But like, yeah, that's stressful. You got GPS for years, eh?
Yeah. And like he's like, that's another whole, we can get into that topic too. There's a lot there, but when that happens, man, it's like, oh shit, it's going to be a long day. I got to get these stupid things back. Like at least with the GPS, like, well, we'll get into it, like, and how to, like what people have they've helped me out and how to correct for stuff. But like, yeah, I get it, man. When that's all they care about is whatever the scent they're on, they're gone and they'll go and go. Yeah. And howling too. I love the sound of the howl. It's some people are
Yeah.
like, man, that is so annoying. But to me, like it's different too. Like when they get on a hot track, like it's a different kind of howl and it's cool. I like it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It's a little primal.
Yeah.
Sweet.
So
Well,
so 2021, Kelly, what are you thinking in terms of hunting there? Are you down for hunting cats or?
yeah, I think you and I were chatting about it a little bit. And like, if I'm completely honest, it's something that hasn't really been in like the wheelhouse or like in the immediate, circle of ideas, but it's definitely something that I'm more like I'm interested in kind of what it takes to actually do it. Like I said, I have tasted cougar meat, so I want to actually I think that would be cool is like, harvesting some different animals, you know, and, trying some cougar meat on my own, like that I actually harvested. I don't know. It's a whole new experience. And that's kind of what this is all about, right? Like that's what this podcast is about. And there's some wildlife management stuff that goes on too, right? Like the whole predator management side of things. So, yeah, I mean, I believe that's a winter season, right? So we
Like
technically can do it.
that's from what I've learned, that's the like after a fresh snowfall is the best time to get after them.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I've been playing my cards. And to be honest, man, I've never had mountain lion before meat. So I'm curious. I know everybody says it tastes like pork. You've had it, and I've asked you before about. And I
Yeah.
was looking in different ways people have been pairing it, and they like a lot of they just do it up like any kind of pork dish. So I'm really curious to try it
Yeah.
out and see what it tastes like. And I just can't wait to
Yeah.
get out and chase the things.
Yeah. It's going to be awesome. Well, we'll definitely do that. As far as this year goes, like finishing off the year, I think we're going to get a couple more episodes out, and then we'll probably hit the Christmas break. In between now and the end of the year, we've got some, we'll probably get some ideas going. But like, as far as what the future looks like, I think the theme is we live in BC. We live in two different parts of BC. So we have a lot of options, I think. And, the one thing I'd like to do again is kind of revisit that elk hunt that we did, because the amount of meat that hunt put in our freezer was mind boggling. We had 4 guys, and I literally still have one of those backstrap slabs. Like,
No way.
the size
Wow.
of yeah, I still have one of them. I've been saving it, and, I'm probably getting to the point where it's getting to be too long. Although I've heard Renella and other folks say as long as you wrapped it good, it can last like 7 years. A piece of red meat, like a solid piece like that.
Oh, wow.
So I'm sure it's still perfectly fine.
And we gave a portion of
It's
that
not-
to my dad too he helped us out there with the garage. And so like, like
I think it's been in there 3 or 4 years now in the freezer.
yeah, that's unreal.
That piece.
You know what?
But,
I'm with you on that one. I'd love to get back out and chase elk, and I got a few good spots around here that if you're open to, I mean, I'd love to toss some ideas past you there and see what you think. You can say yay or nay, and I think and the biggest. Sorry, go ahead, Kelly.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I think the last hunt we did elk and goat, it was kind of like an elk goat area. So, I don't know if that's a realistic thing. I don't think we successfully pulled off the goat portion of that hunt last time, but goat is another thing. So, those are kind of the 2 animals that seem to be cropping up for me for 2021. But yeah, what were you going to say about the challenge there?
The challenge, especially in here, is getting to areas where there's not a lot of pressure, hunter pressure again. I feel like there's the staple areas that especially the locals, they know about where to hit. And then there's the other places where you got to work for. And if you're in for it, those are the kind of places I'd like to target just to kind of get away from the crowd. So we're not contending with, other hunters bugling the same herd. But I'm with you, man. I love hunting elk. They're awesome. They're fun to chase around. And that'd be right up my alley for 2021. And goat too. Goat. Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. And the other thing I know that you're keen on is, us all being Kootenai boys, is maybe traveling to the East Kootenays. You're in the West Kootenays, and I grew up in the West Kootenays too. But, maybe East Kootenays and going to chase some bighorn sheep one day.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Yeah. And like I was
Yeah.
telling you there, I mean, people can do their research. They know where it's not hard. You can figure out where the sheep live. You got to go east into the Rockies for bighorn sheep. But
Yeah.
yeah, there's definitely some guys over there that know how to do it right and what times of years to go after them and where to go after, like what management units to focus most of their attention on. But yeah, I would love to do that too.
Yeah. I think that's, would you say that's one of your dream hunts?
Absolutely. And especially if we
Yeah.
can incorporate the horses in on it too.
Yeah, true. Which might not be for a while.
Won't be for a while, but I mean, we can get in there. We can, build a plan, especially if it's something where we can logistic wise, we can get and be like, hey, we can ride them to this far and we can spike out. There's water here.
Yeah.
And then we can glass ridges or we can finger out into different drainages
Yeah.
and then always kind of have the mindset that we're coming back to the horses and we can just, I guess we can get further back, you know what I mean? With a comfortable camp. That would be my angle on it. Of course, there's a lot to learn and we can ask along that way to build up to that. We can ask people and how to set up for success.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's one thing that Mike and I didn't do a ton of, but I would like to do a lot moving forward is, instead of focusing, 100% of the effort on that hunt the day, we did a lot of planning, obviously, a lot of training, a lot of like all that stuff, but I wouldn't say we were, going out to the East Kootenays, going on a hike, making it a camping trip, all for the purpose of like scouting, you know what I mean? And like, I wouldn't mind doing more of that in the summer, depending on what our overall plan is. And then kind of, getting familiar with areas before we even go in there and hunt them. And like just making it, because you can do the first part with family, and you can make it camping trips and hiking trips. And then sure, maybe you go back and it's, September or October, and then you're just hunting. But like you can kind of make these trips something bigger, I think, and something that spans over a little more time. And you can go there a few times. And, I like to do a little more of that.
Oh, definitely. Like you can shave down so much time for especially getting into certain areas. And then you can, whether or not you want to build the hunt as if like, let's say me and you want to go in an area and set up the wall tent, and then just like wall tent hunting is pretty comfortable. We've done it before. You know what it's like. It's with that time we went elk hunting, like we were eating like rock stars. Everybody cooked a meal and it was like we wood stove going. I mean, it was pouring rain the whole time and all our gear, every time we went out in the morning, all our gear was bone dry. I mean, it was, so you could do that, or you can just go, like you said, if you went in there before, we can make it this far back. Like, I feel like you're just that much further ahead when you do your homework.
Yeah, I agree. Well, man, I think we covered a lot tonight. And, I think, I'm pumped to have you on the show, like I said, and I hope the listeners, after listening to this and kind of get more familiar with you, are stoked about the change as well. I know Mike's also stoked about it. He's pumped to be involved, and I think he's excited to kind of see where we take the story too. So, all around, man, I think it's good. What are you drinking? I saw you drinking something there. I've got something too, but I think we should give a cheers to a new era of Rookie Hunter.
Absolutely, man. I'm just drinking the old Cab Sab. It's kind of nice. It's kind of a staple after dinner, but yeah, definitely. Thanks so much for having me on and thinking about, having me to be a part of Rookie Hunter and keeping this good thing going. It's great, Kelly. Thanks a lot. And Mike too. It's awesome. Right on, you guys. Cheers.
All right. Thanks, buddy.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.
There you go. Our brand new host. I couldn't think of a better replacement for me. And we share the same blood, so that's cool. And you guys already know him. He's been on all of our big trips, and so much good stuff for the two of them to talk about with horses and hounds. And yeah, it's a perfect fit. So please make Garrett feel welcome. And I'll talk to you guys at the beginning and end of each episode. So stay safe out there, stay healthy, and we'll see you when we see you with another episode of Rookie Hunter with Garrett and Kelly. Cheers, guys.